Hi everybody, it's Dr. Lori, and I'm here with more real bargains. We've got some great ones today. Everybody's given me permission to retell their stories about the bargains that they found, and we've got Art Deco diamonds, that's right. We've got Christian Dior jewelry and a work of art by one of America's most famous artists. You're going to recognize this one. I'm going to start right there. So this first work of art comes from, this first real bargain, which is a work of art, comes from a online appraisal report, submitted the photos and the form. I give them the appraisal report. And this client said to me, Dr. Lori, I was in the thrift store and I was looking at golf clubs. So he goes in to look for golf clubs and he comes out with a work of art. And here's the work of art. He said, I was looking at golf clubs and there were two works of art and they were stuck behind the rack where the golf clubs were being stored. So he said, I figured I better look at them. Seemed like somebody was hiding them because the next day was the 50% off day at the thrift store. Well, they're hiding stuff because they want to get the discount the next day. They expect it to come back. This work of art is by Peter Max, and you probably recognize Peter Max's very characteristic modern style. This is the American flag, acrylic on canvas. It's 30 by 36 inches. It's framed, and he's known for everything from images and artwork for the Olympics and the U.S. Olympic team to, of course, the actual works of art that he did to decorate cruise ships. That's right, the hull of cruise ships for NCL Cruise Lines. Peter Max also designed that. You might know him for his very characteristic images of American flags and, of course, of the Statue of Liberty. This work was found in a thrift store. That's right, the American flag in a thrift store. It's beautiful. It's very indicative of his style. It's got his big characteristic signature, which everybody recognizes. But my client said, I'd never heard of him. I went to the front of the store and I thought, I don't know who this is, but it seems like a pretty good piece. I think I'm going to take it. I like the frame. He liked the frame. He knew he was going to send it to me so I can give an appraisal, and he purchased it. Guess how much he purchased it for? $24. That's right. He said he went to a auction house. The auction house said he could sell it for $3,000. Guess what it's really worth? Sales records show that the auction house is wrong. The thrift store didn't know what they had. It's worth $8,000, and it's a real bargain. Here's a winner for you. This is a video caller who called me because he bought this at a pawn shop. That's right. Look at this brooch. Look at those diamonds. 1920s. At the end, of course, the end of the Edwardian period. Why? How do you know? Look at that nice ribbon at the top. That's the end, of course, of the Edwardian era. Beautiful piece. 236 diamonds. Got it at the pawn shop. 18 karat white gold. Tested the gold with a fire opal in the middle, a teardrop shaped fire opal, characteristic of that early 20th century period. And you can see the way in which those diamonds, pretty big diamonds, are actually hanging off this gorgeous brooch. It's also a pendant, so it does double duty, right? It has, of course, the pendant bail and also the pin for the brooch. Gorgeous piece, unsigned, but a great design in the manner of Cartier and many of the great designers of the early 20th century. It's a beautiful piece. Also has sapphires. Do you see the blue sapphires at the top? It's a beautiful piece. So the asking price was $2,700. He said, I waited 2 months and I just waited and I kept looking and I kept going back and I kept looking. And in fact, they lowered the price to $1,000. Now, $1,000 might sound like a lot, but for this particular piece with 236 total carat weight diamonds, you also had, in fact, the sapphires and the 18 karat gold. He bought it for $1,000. And that was some money, but I'll tell you what it's worth a lot more than that. A beautiful piece, a gorgeous example, something that you can't get today easily, all handmade. What's it worth? $12,000 for his $1,000 investment. It was a real bargain and a real beauty. Don't forget to sign up for my newsletter. It's free, and of course, you can find it right on my website. Just go to drloriv.com. This next real bargain comes from a video caller who won an online auction. She got 3 pieces of jewelry in the online auction. 2 sterling silver necklaces in the Omega style. They're both sterling silver and marked as such, and 1 pendant. The pendant is sterling silver, and the sterling silver has gemstones set in it. All of them tested, rubies, sapphires, emeralds. And you can see how large the pendant is. As I said, marked sterling silver with the 925 mark. The pendant was made in China. The pendant is quite long, almost 2.5 inches long. Gorgeous condition, and she got those two necklaces, 18 inches long each in sterling silver with the same lot. In the online auction that she won, nobody bid it against her. So this is some of the things that happen oftentimes with a lot of people who are, of course, participating in online auctions. It probably has happened to you. She paid $10 for the lot. And in paying $10 for the lot, she got all three of these pieces. And on the video call, she said, I just couldn't believe it. Nobody was bidding against me. So sterling silver, precious metals. Also, of course, you've got great precious gemstones too. What are they worth? All three pieces for her $10 investment? Here's the real bargain for you. The real bargain, $700 for three pieces. Really beautiful as well. This next real bargain comes from one of my video callers who was shopping at Savers, the thrift store. So she went in and she saw a pin that was in a case, and she asked if she could see it from the case. She said, I'd like you to take it out. I'd like to see this particular pin. So she looks at the pin. She thinks it's quite beautiful. She says, gee, I really think I want that pin. So a couple of things. She didn't have her loop with her, and I did get annoyed with her, and I said, you don't carry the loop. It's very simple. Carry the loop. It's a good idea. So she didn't have the loop with her, so she wasn't really sure. She couldn't really make out the mark. But if you had the loop, you would be able to. Okay, so she doesn't have the loop with her, and she can't make out the mark, but she really thinks the pin is beautiful. So they take it out of the case. She looks at it, and she realizes that she's going to buy it. She understands that it's crystals. She can identify the crystals, but she's not sure about the metal. All right, I do the video call with her, and I'm able to tell her that it is indeed a Christian Dior large-scale brooch, not a pin at all. It's big. And of course, it has gold-plated, and it also has individually set crystals all the way around. If you're looking at crystals, get the loop and look at each one to make sure each one is there. Sometimes they fall out. You want to be aware of that to make sure there's no damage to your piece. I always say, you know, look at the whole piece. And in a piece like this, where you've got these big, large loops making the floral form, go through each loop, go around and around and around. It's a great idea. It's a good way to make sure you know what you've got. On the back, the piece is actually marked Christian Dior, and it even had a Christian Dior dust bag with it. So the whole piece was there. The whole set was actually there. I like this. I like this a lot. Now, I would say put it on a piece of clothing that's a darker color so the whole thing pops, as opposed to something light colored, because you want to see, again, the crystals sparkle, and you want to see the gold plating pop as well. Christian Dior, big name, of course, in costume jewelry design. I've taught you about these before. Wonderful piece, really nice, pretty big. Now, this particular piece also has some other attributes that are characteristic of Christian Dior, and that is abundance of style. A lot of the gold, a lot of the crystals, you know, they don't mince it. They aren't chintzy about it. They give you all of the materials, which is what I really like. So anyway, she paid $14.95 for it. But how did she pay it? She got to the register. It was $24.95, and she asked the person who was checking her out, would you give me a discount? Reluctantly, he first said no, and then all of a sudden changed his mind for no apparent reason. He said, okay, well, here, you can have it for $14.95. What's it worth? $700. That's right, $700 for a just about $15 investment, and she's got a great brand name too, Christian Dior. It's a real bargain. This next real bargain comes from a video caller who did the video call with his wife. So his wife was showing me some objects, and he decided to show me something that he got at an old antique store. So he said, you know, Dr. Lori, I consider myself a collector of ancient artifacts. I like ancient pieces. I saw this piece in the antique store, and I thought to myself, well, I'm going to see it. I'm going to take a look at it. It was in a locked glass case, and I wanted to, in fact, get a closer look at it. So I asked to see it. They opened the locked case, and I saw that it was actually marked terracotta Roman bust. Well, it's not really a bust. It's a very small portrait head. And a lot of you will look at these types of pieces and you'll say, well, I don't really know enough about this to take a shot at it, to say, oh, should I spend a couple bucks on this piece? This particular piece was very typical of 1st century AD and 2nd century AD Roman figural sculptures. This is a portrait, just a little head, not too big, about 6 inches big. So He said, I wasn't really sure, but I have seen a lot of these pieces and I thought it looked good. Here's some of the characteristics you want to look for. You don't want to look for very sharp details. You want, because when something of this age, if it's truly of this age, so old, you want to look for figures and details that are not actually all that sharp. You want to look for things that basically have been rubbed up against over time. So it should be rather smooth. You can't really see sort of the bend of the nose. You can't really see the socket of the eyes. It's a suggestion more than anything else. That's one of the things to look for. The other thing you want to know is whether or not this piece has a provenance or a history that they can trace it. Even back to the 19th century would be good. This particular piece he purchased for $30. What's it worth? You'll be surprised. $500 for this 1st to 2nd century AD Roman portrait bust. It's a beautiful piece, and it has many good qualities. One of the things that a lot of art historians and appraisers look for, they look for the hair. So look for some curves in the hair. That's a real bargain. I'm Dr. Lori. Those are real bargains. I hope you find your real bargain real soon.